See, this is what you call a cold open, and then you're like on SNL. Yeah, very cold open. You know what's great about autumn? Pumpkins, Halloween candy, haunted houses, crunchy leaves, sweater weather, autumn migrations, and corn mazes. Wait, what were those last two? This is my friend Emily, and we're here at the Richardson Adventure Farm because tonight we're going into the largest corn maze in Illinois.
What are we doing in this corn maze at night? And why did you have me a blindfold?
Because you're going to be testing my sense of direction. So the way this is going to work, Emily and I are going to go into the maze. She'll be holding the camera. I'm going to have glow sticks on both of my arms and on my head so that you can watch my progress from above via a second camera up in the maze's observation tower. We're going to start with me knowing where north is and where the observation tower is in relation to where we're standing at the beginning of the maze. Then Emily's going to blindfold me and lead me into the maze. As we're walking along, every so often she's going to ask me to stop and point to where I think north is and to where I think the tower is. And you'll be able to watch my progress via that second overhead camera shot. And while we're walking along, we're going to be talking about the concept of sense of direction.
So why do I have to blindfold you?
Didn't you read the whole script yet? I mean, we'll get to that in a moment. Okay, so here we are at the start of the maze. North is directly behind you, and the tower is kind of there. So now I guess I'm ready for the blindfold, and we can head into the maze behind me.
All right.
We're good, thank you. Okay, am I doing the thing?
Yes.
Okay. North is that way. Tower is that way. All right, here I go. I'm
Woohoo!
walking into the maze.
Okay, but seriously, why are we in a corn maze?
Well, remember how I mentioned at the beginning of the video, this is very disconcerting. Oh, that's corn. Crap. Well, so remember during the intro how I said that animals migrate in the fall from the northern hemisphere to the southern hemisphere in order to find food during the winter? How do you think they find their way across that huge distance?
Well, birds and butterflies don't carry maps, and they don't have smartphones that have navigation apps. So I guess they just have to know where they're going. Right. And this is where we check for north.
This is where we check for north. Okay. Yeah, exactly. So animals have to know where they're going, or at least have a good idea of the general direction. And that concept is what we know of as sense of direction. A lot of researchers have been really interested in this idea and trying to figure out how animals do that.
When you say migration, are you referring to birds?
Yeah, birds are one of the most common migratory animals. In addition to visual, auditory, and olfactory cues, or sight, sound, and smell, they also have tiny pieces of iron in their heads that help them orient themselves to Earth's magnetic field. This kind of navigation is called magnetoreception, and researchers theorize that some birds, rodents, and even some fish might use this method. That's more corn.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
No, that's also more corn. Crap. I'm not walking straight. I'm not walking straight at all.
And also you have a turn. You can go right or left.
I'll go left this time.
All right.
Okay.
Yes. And I know there's been some recently published research about one of your favorite organisms, the dung beetle. Is that correct?
Yes, that stuff is so cool. So some researchers in South Africa figured out that dung beetles actually navigate using the bright light from the Milky Way in the sky at night.
Wow.
Which, yeah, it's incredible, especially considering that they're super tiny, and also that the Milky Way is really hard to see in many parts of the world because of light pollution.
And this is where we check for north.
So much. Okay.
Here we are.
All right, we're good. I got this. I have no idea where I'm going. This is the hardest thing I've done
There's
in a while.
some corn crossing, corn in the path.
This is harder than grad school.
So that's all very interesting. But you still haven't really explained why we're out here in this corn maze. What does this have to do with migration?
Right. So like I was saying, since it was fall and I was thinking about migration, I started wondering if humans have a sense of direction, or an innate sense of direction. And this is something that researchers have actually been interested in since like the 1800s. So I thought it would be cool if we tried to test it.
So do we have an innate sense of direction?
Well, that's not really an easy yes or no answer, because sense of direction is both knowing your location at any given point, but also being able to find your way to another location. So it's actually a really broad category that includes things, like being able to form cognitive maps and being able to find your location on a physical map, but also knowing routes to get to places and being able to figure out new routes and shortcuts and things like that. So it's kind of complicated.
Well, I think I have a pretty okay sense of direction. That's actually currently being tested right here in this maze.
It's not a surprise that you have an opinion about your sense of direction. Most people do. And weirdly enough, some researchers have found that our opinions of our abilities seem to be pretty accurate. There's a good chance that people who say they have a good sense of direction know that because they've been told it by other people in the past.
Couldn't a person who says they have a good sense of direction just really be cognizant of landmarks and the direction of the sun and whatnot?
Exactly. So that's why I'm blindfolded.
Ooh, and this is where we check for north.
Checking for north.
Let's see.
All right, I feel like it's gotten much more complicated now because we did a bunch of turns and things. What am I doing with my life?
You know, we're here.
I'm getting a PhD, but right now this is what I'm doing.
This is a fun time, and this is just a part of it.
Cool. Yes.
You good?
Yeah, I'm good. I'm sort of good, I guess.
Woohoo!
Are you filming?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, so we actually do a lot of our navigation or our wayfinding using visual cues. Things like landmarks or the angle of the sun or even the stars overhead if it wasn't such a cloudy night. We can also use visual cues like just the scenery moving past our eyes as our bodies move. That is actually one of the mechanisms that can make you car sick, because your eyes make your brain think that your body is moving even though your body is sitting still.
That makes sense. I'm a victim of that, honestly.
Of car sickness?
Oh, yes. But you're blindfolded, so...
Yeah, so I blindfolded myself and we're out here at night because I didn't want to test how good I am at looking at landmarks, because I already know that I'm good at that. I just wanted to test whether or not I have an innate sense of direction without my visual cues.
Okay, so how does this work?
Well, so if we remove all of the visual stimuli, and normally you would also remove auditory stimuli, but that would make for a really awkward video. The only thing I have left to use for navigation is my brain, and this is what we call idiothetic navigation. We're actually doing a really over-the-top version of a test called a locomotor pointing task that researchers use to test human sense of direction. Normally, in a locomotor pointing task, the target or the participant starts out being able to see the target, which is usually on the floor, sort of like in a straight line in front of them, and then they're blindfolded and they have to walk to the target. But this is a little more elaborate than that.
All right, and then we can check for north.
And north.
So what's going on in your brain whenever you do this?
So I'm relying on 3 separate but working together systems to do this. So I'm using proprioception, some stuff in my inner ear, and then also some brain cells to hopefully keep me headed in like sort of the right direction. I hope. Ah! She says
Oh, no.
She runs into the corn.
So proprioception is the sense of where your body and all of your body parts are in relation to one another, right?
Right, yeah. And so that's hopefully what's keeping me walking in a mostly straight line, which I apparently have not been doing a great job of. But you know,
You're doing your best.
I've got a lot going on.
So what about your inner ear?
So there's multiple parts in your inner ear, and basically they help you keep track of where your head is on 3 axes, or like within 3 dimensions of movement.
Oh.
And so that's what's helping keep me from just like even if I'm not walking.
We're actually in a dead end.
Oh, we're in a dead end. Even if I'm not.
Oh no, we went in a circle.
Okay. Even if I'm not walking in a straight line, at least I'm not like falling over. So that's what the inner ear helps me with, is to like keep my balance and keep my head oriented in those 3 axes of orientation.
And while neither of us are neuroscientists, what did you find out about brain cells and navigation?
Well, it's a little confusing because the cells are called head cells, but all brain cells are inside your head. But what I think the name is referring to is the idea of taking a heading, or being able to do wayfinding. So basically each of the head cells points in a very slightly different direction, which means that all of the head cells together wind up giving you 360 degrees of direction sensing along a horizontal plane. So it can basically help you determine which way you've turned.
I see, and this is where we check for north. So we've been walking around on curving paths in a corn maze to disorient you, and we're out here at night with you blindfolded to keep you from using visual cues. And we've been talking, which is probably a little distracting.
Oh yeah, it's very distracting. So I run into more corn.
This is the most Midwestern thing.
It is the most Midwestern thing, darn it.
Oh, but let me squeeze past you, corn. So how do you think you did?
Oh, like I said at that last point, I felt weirdly confident, but on some of the ones in the middle, I was kind of like, so I feel like I might have done okay, but I don't think I have a perfect innate sense of direction.
I see.
Especially with all of this going on, yeah.
We also we have a choice. You can go left or right.
Oh, let's go left.
All right, that sounds good.
Oh gosh. Can I get out of here now?
This is so. All right, I'm here.
Is that the end?
Let's see. Do. Yes.
Yes. Woo!
All right.
Oh.
Yeah, you're good now.
Okay. So how did I do?
Well, you got to know some corn very well. But we exited in the same entrance of the corn maze that we entered in.
So I didn't get too lost in the maze.
Not too lost. We did go in a circle. We did hit a couple dead ends, but that's all right. We made out, and that's what matters.
Yeah, and I'm going to put up here on the screen right now will be the data that Emily collected, partially because the whole extra camera up in the tower thing didn't work so well because of the height of the corn and how bright our lights were, but you can see from these data that Emily says I got about an 85%. Thanks for the B. It's
B plus,
That's a grade I can be happy with, I guess. Yeah, but I think this was a really fun way to just sort of test the idea of whether or not I have a good sense of direction or whether or not I have an innate sense of direction.
And we get to go in a spooky corn maze right before Halloween.
In the dark.
Yeah.
It was great. Thank you so much, Emily, for wandering around in the corn maze with me. I'm glad you had fun. You're the best. And thank you to the Richardson Adventure Farm for letting us wander around in their corn maze in the dark on a day when the public wasn't allowed in. So, yay, this was great. If you liked this video, don't forget to like it. If you didn't like this video, please share it with someone who would. And if you'd like to support the Roving Naturalist, remember to hit the subscribe button and the bell notification icon. Then go check out my Patreon page. You can also follow me on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. If you like nerdy science goodness, you might also want to check out my Dungeons and Dragons show, Nature Check, where Emily is a periodic guest player. And as always, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. Yay! You guys are the best. I'm so glad to be here.